Hey, what's up, everybody? What the fuck is going on? Happy Thanksgiving! Hey, an impromptu live show by myself, yours truly, and Mr. Ramboraph'S. How you doing, Rambo?
Doing well. Hope anyone who sees this, hope you had a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and we realize, we're not, American pig-headed freaks. We realize that Thanksgiving is a local thing for us, local being our country. We understand. Although Canada had theirs in October, which is cool. Hope you guys had a good one, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for all our American brothers and sisters, I hope you had a great time with your family, ate a lot of food, and if you're not in a turkey coma right now, join us for some after-dinner fun. I'm going to go ahead and just say the real purpose of this video. We'll get started on it soon. We're going to bullshit for a little bit, so whatever. We're just going to, it's an impromptu, whatever, hey, what the fuck, right? Whatever the fuck happens.
Yeah.
But we're going to do a live comm for planes, trains, and automobiles tonight. It's there's not many Thanksgiving films. There's what Thanksgiving with the killer turkey, which is good for a chuckle. Well, you got like Charlie Brown and maybe a couple other ones. I mean, but this is
Home Sweet Home with the Body by Jake guy as a killer.
So yeah, Thanksgiving is lacking some high quality film tributes. So this is probably, I think I can safely say this is the best Thanksgiving based movie ever made. So
yeah,
I look forward to diving into that one. Probably the film that really showed John Candy's range. I mean, before that, he was just a fat guy in a little coat, to quote Farley. But yeah. But, that was his hero, too. One of his heroes was John Candy and, of course, Jim Belushi, which unfortunately he followed in Belushi's steps and ended up dying later. But that's beside the point. I think this film really does showcase his talent, being more than just a slapstick comedian. He kind of, and Steve Martin was always one of the ones that rode the line between drama and comedy, and I think he's really good at doing both. So I'm gonna really enjoy this, and I hope everybody else does. But until we get started on that, have you seen anything cool, interesting, funny, or whatever?
Other than playing a game that was getting more and more pissed at, I recently was sent this from a very nice guy, and I watched it again, really enjoyed it. Down, aka The Shaft. As silly of an idea as it is, they at least went for it. Because if you don't make a killer elevator movie, you might as well make it silly and fun and over the top. And any movie that ends with Aerosmith's loving an elevator, in the first 5 minutes you get titties and you get a guy's head getting cut off. So, and
you got titties, you got decapitations, and you have Aerosmith. That's a party. That right there, that's all you need.
So, I mean, that was a lot of fun watching it again. So, other than that, I haven't been seeing much. I know Justice League came out. I did not see it because I don't like DC movies. Sorry, I have it. To be, they stand for dumb cocksuckers. Or, as one person said, don't care. They don't care. And I guess the box office, it was a lot lower than they thought. So they think, although it's a bit too soon to say, but they're saying it's going to bomb. And because in retrospect, Batman v Superman debuted at like 166 million, and this debuted at like 93. And this is supposed to be the Avengers, movie.
Yeah,
it costs like 300 million, so they have to make like 600 million to break even. And I think they got like 300 million worldwide so far, and Star Wars is coming soon, so that's gonna take their money. So it's a bit too soon to say it's a bomb, but it's a good chance it'll be a bomb. And to me, they deserve it.
It's their own fault, really. I mean, I don't know who the architects of the DC universe are, but they've made so many fatal mistakes early on trying to get this thing going that, if your foundation is a pile of shit, then the roof is going to be shit too. I mean, it's just kind of, it just is what it is. Man of Steel was, like everybody says, the first hour was pretty good, and then it just turned into a pile of shit. They said the same thing about Batman versus Superman. I've seen the the non-theatrical cut where they added stuff back in. I mean, that doesn't take away from the fact that Jesse Eisenberg is fucking Lex Luthor, and that just that's the worst thing about I mean, sure, okay, so how they Doomsday, he's a combination of this and that and the other bullshit, right? But even more so is that Jesse Eisenberg killed that movie. And sorry if my voice goes in and out. I've been having allergies past couple of weeks, and I'm gonna gut through it though. So yeah, and Suicide Squad, that wasn't exactly a masterpiece, and they panicked when Batman versus Superman tanked and basically tanked. I mean, I guess it made a profit, but not what they wanted. They wanted Dark Knight Rises money, but it didn't get there. So that's kind of like their benchmark, really. They're everything's against Nolan's trilogy. It's like if it doesn't make as much money as Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises, then it's a failure. But stop spending $300 million and your movie might be profitable at. I don't know. It's the business model, maybe. And I haven't rushed out. Truthfully, didn't even go see Thor. I mean, Pizza was talking about superhero movie fatigue. I'm there. It's like, it's not that I'm not interested in watching Thor. It's just not enough to go to the theater.
Right.
And same thing with the Justice League. It's like, yeah, I'll watch it eventually, whether it be Netflix or Blu-ray or something. But it's kind of a shame because it probably would be one of those movies you would want to see on the big screen because of all the shit going on, But then it just turns into a CGI cartoon fest whenever there's a fight anyway. So I don't know. It just, the whole thing is, ugh. And then they're doing the same thing with Star Wars because, in about a couple weeks, we got the new Star Wars movie coming out. And, how soon before their numbers start dipping?
I hope soon.
Yeah.
I really do.
God,
that's just my opinion, folks. I hope they do.
It's just like if you look back, Iron Man was 2008?
Yep.
So we're coming up on the 10-year anniversary of basically what kicked off the MCU.
Right.
Or whatever.
the cinematic universe stuff that everyone tries to do now. It's a fad.
Yeah. I don't know. I liked what was the one with the raccoon, the first one, the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I thought the first one I haven't seen the second one though, because again, I didn't go see the 10th Pirates film that came out either. I haven't saw that one yet. I don't know. It's people made fun of Friday the 13th by the time it got to part 5, but it's like, hey, the same thing applies to every franchise, but I don't know.
No, I perfectly get what you mean. I mean, I saw Guardians 2. I liked it. Michael Rooker was really good, Kurt Russell, but I don't think it was as good as the first one. I saw Spider-Man Homecoming. I thought it was okay. That was mainly for Tom Holland. He was a really good in his performance, Michael Keaton, but I have a lot of problems with it, and I thought it was just okay.
I had to say, and it may be that one that kept me away from Thor because I don't know. I'm tired of Spider-Man being 14, 15 years old. He didn't need a sidekick. Yeah, the movie had a lot of problems, although I did enjoy it. But it had so many problems, I don't know if I'm really interested in watching it again. Because did Iron Man need to be there to babysit Spider-Man? Did he need to build his suit for him and totally circumvent the fact that Peter Parker is a scientist that did his own stuff?
And no Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
That was his whole... People are tired of it. Well, that's part of Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, but between the Tobey Maguire trilogy, right, and then you had the Andrew Garfield, was going to be a trilogy, but ended up being 2 films. We've had enough origin shit on Spider-Man. Give us the 30-year-old Spider-Man, the guy that's been doing this for a while. Maybe Aunt May's passed away by now, and he's on his own, doing his own shit, and he can stand on his own without the help of somebody else. That would be cool. That's the Spider-Man I want to see. But they keep fucking teenagers in the third Aunt May, and this one doesn't even have Uncle Ben's rice in it. I don't know.
They kind of reference it, but like blink and you don't hear it. And I saw Thor 3. I liked it. It was definitely better than the last one. Nice usage of Immigrant Song, not once but twice. Has some good action, but even though I liked it and it was better than the second Thor, because that's a piece of shit. Thor: The Dark World is dark because it's all you see is shit. It's the worst Marvel film since I don't know, Captain America 1990.
Ooh.
I don't know. I hated it, but Thor 3 was fun, but it was too much comedy to me. I mean, some of the humor was fine, but it was just an all-out comedy. And to me, I'm like, even though those were films, I didn't mind Guardians 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor 3. Even the year before, some of those movies I liked more. I liked Ant-Man more than those three. I liked Doctor Strange more than those three. And then it's just, I can see the dwindling returns, like Black Panther. I don't care. He was all right in Civil War. I don't care about seeing that. The new Avengers, I don't know. It's going to be a clusterfuck. They don't have too many people in there, I think. And I wonder, I was going, now that you mentioned that, since we enjoy action movies in the 90s and 80s, and in the 90s, we saw that they were coming down box office wise. Do you think people our age were thinking that way for those action movies? Like we're thinking of superhero movies, and that's why part of the reason box office dwindled? Because there were some really good ones, but maybe they got fatigued too.
It's possible. I mean, I don't know. Short attention spans, and if they see something that seems familiar, then they just, oh, I've already seen that, and they move on. You miss out on some good stuff that way, and I've been guilty of that too. You get burned out on a certain type of film, and then years later, oh, I've never heard of that. You watched it, and it's, oh, I wish I would have watched that back then. That was actually really good, but at the time, you were like, I'm not interested in that anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple of years, I'll go back and watch Thor Ragnarok or something, and I'll be like, oh, wow, that was a really good flick. I just never bothered to watch it because I was bored. I was done with that stuff. Right. I'm looking forward to the Del Toro movie about the creature. That looks really good.
The Shape of Water.
Yeah, that looks like taking something known and putting a new spin on it or something. That looks pretty cool.
I'm just sad that Blade Runner bombed. Just I loved that in the theater.
Well, the original wasn't necessarily a smash hit. It only became, it became big with nerds later. I mean, you could test your level of nerddom by how much you liked that movie, basically. Yeah, I liked it.
Me too.
I saw the original in the theater, and I really enjoyed it. But, your average person might consider it boring.
Sadly. Yeah, sadly, yeah.
Because in the old days, that's what, in the first half hour, you introduced your characters, and then you introduced the story, and then you had your conclusion, and that's when all the action took place. And then I think it was one of the Fridays that started that one kill every so many minutes, and then that became the new formula where something has to happen at the beginning, and then, oh yeah, we got to remind them and keep them going. And I don't know.
It's just sad for me, just only me personally, because to me, that's how a lot of group films were made. Where's that build up? And I mean, I know it's a different time, but even then, I don't know. It kills me that Transformers 8 will still make shitload of money, even though everyone knows it's a piece of shit. But then here's like a sincerely, in my opinion, sincerely good movie, and it bombs. And maybe it was always meant to do that, but it just then we'll just create the image of, well, we won't make movies like that anymore. And that's why you don't see a lot of movies like that anymore.
And like we always say, if you want them to stop making bad movies, then stop going to see them. Because you speak with your name. If it makes money, they think you like that, and then they'll keep making more of that because they think you like that.
Exactly.
So the only thing I can say is just vote with your dollar and stay home. I mean, if it's something that seems repetitive or something you're not interested in, don't just go to be going. I don't know. Things go in cycles, though. Maybe, hopefully, I'm hoping that it makes a rebound. But with the stuff that's going on in the world right now, I think things are kind of up in the air.
Yeah.
We don't know who's going to be around to make movies and who's going to be on the outs and who's going to do what. With all the shit going on, that puts the future of a lot of movies in jeopardy. But I don't know what I'm going to do. Whether
they're true or not.
I've been kind of going the comedy route lately. I checked out the Jerky Boys movie again the other night. Oh, man. Those guys crack me up. I know that's another one I think should be more popular because to me it's hilarious. I watched that movie and I'm crying. I'm laughing so hard. Those guys crack me up. Another one I watched was A Lonely Island, or The Lonely Island, a rap group from the guys from Saturday Night Live did a movie called Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is kind of like a Spinal Tap for like pop singers.
Huh.
Kind of like the boy band type thing of the 80s. It was hilarious. I highly recommend Pop Star. It's very, very funny. Same with Jerky Boys. And last night I watched The Nightmare Before Christmas because that's another, starts on the day after Halloween, November 1st, and goes through Christmas. And, pretty much one of those you can watch anytime between the two holidays. And it's a lot of fun. I forgot how much, it was 93 when that was made, and it looks great. Yeah, so yeah, that was a good time. But I don't. Of course, I thought about watching this one, and I thought, well, hey, let's go ahead and do a live com with it because that'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's classic.
I did. I put the word out on Twitter. I don't know if anybody else will be joining. I'm kind of stalling a little bit before we get started. That's really all I had planned for tonight was just to bullshit a little bit, watch the flick, and hang a little. You have any new vids in the can you want to talk about?
No. I've been sort of being lazy and easing back and just relaxing. Just on my channel, someone requested a game that this guy's done a lot for me, so I figure it's the least I can do. And, it's one of those things, a lot of people aren't going to watch it or care for it, but at least for that one person, he's done a lot for me, so least I can do. Other than that, I'm just relaxing and being lazy and just really, right now, don't really have the urge to make reviews right now.
I hear that. Well, I haven't made a review in a long time. A lot of people ask me when you're going to do reviews again. And we kind of talked about that before we started this. I originally said back in, I think it was September, that if I get up to 50 followers on VidMe, I would start doing videos again. And I topped out at 40, which I really appreciate. Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful that many people followed me on VidMe. But the fact that I didn't get 50, which, I thought was it wasn't like I asked for 500.
Right.
I thought it was reasonable because, 50 is the level where you can get verified on VidMe. And I thought that was kind of cool. If I could get to that level, then I could start building that up a little bit. But I don't know if that means there's no interest or if I have to make videos to gain the interest, which makes sense. I haven't been making videos I've been on the factory though all the time and doing live stuff like this and having fun, but I haven't been doing the videos that take a lot of time to make because, like I said to you, you spend, 10, 15 hours making a review and it gets 5 views in a week. It's kind of depressing. It kind of makes you wonder, why am I doing this? Because if I'm doing it just for me, that's one thing, but I wouldn't do that just for me. Right? I mean, this live stuff right here, this is great for me because, you start it, you do your thing, you're done, no editing, it automatically loads. It's a beautiful thing. And if you're rough on time or short on time to do stuff and you got other stuff you can be doing where you get a feedback from, I don't know. But it's not like I'm not interested in doing them again. And another thing is there's been so many guys that have come along since I started in 2010 and you've been around since probably the beginning of this whole YouTube spiel. You got guys that are dressing up in costumes and they're doing voices and they've got characters and, reoccurring things. And, they actually show clips, which I can't even show pictures without getting the YouTube dick in my ass. I don't know how the hell they're doing full clips, but they're doing it. I guess maybe they just like to deal with it. I'm sure they get, strikes and notifications. They just maybe they got a really good network or something that helps them out. I guess once you get past that magical 100,000, I guess they lay off you a little bit. I'm not really sure how that works. I'm at 1,300, you know. But I haven't really done much to grow my channel in a long time, and part of that's due to the AdSense debacle and the fact that every single one of these what the fuck videos we do gets blocked in multiple countries, and my channel's been buried in the bandwidth. So it's almost like a why bother type scenario. It's like it's a whole lot of time for maybe they get 5 views because that's only 5 people know that I did a video thanks to YouTube. I don't know. But every time we do something, it's just it gets buried. And I've seen videos where people are talking about how the corporations that have YouTube channels pretty much can do whatever they want to do, and they don't. The algorithm doesn't bother them. But if you're an independent, that pretty much. So I don't know if they're trying to take the U out of YouTube and make it corporate tube, because that's kind of what it sounds like. I don't. But if so, hopefully VidMe is a good, alternative to go to right now. It just seems kind of like a place to back up your videos in case YouTube nukes your channel. It doesn't really seem like VidMe is really growing at a massive rate right now. It's just kind of there, which is a shame because a lot of people are pissed off at YouTube. Well, VidMe is an alternative that you could join, and there are different ways you can make money on VidMe. And as far as I know, they're not as Nazi-like about their policies, because if you read the YouTube policies about what's not allowed in a video, it's very vague and pretty much means everything.
Well, I've set up a VidMe, and I went through their thing for monetization, and I haven't made 1 penny. So their monetization doesn't work because I'm like, oh, maybe I can do this, and I upload like 2,000 videos or whatever. Not a penny. So their monetization doesn't work. I just use it just to have a backup. But well, I mean, you can always do what I do. Be lazy, just stand in front of a camera and talk. That's really what I do. I'm not really much in editing or anything. I'm just pretty lazy. Really, they're just glorified vlogs, not even reviews. So there's always that if you wanted to do it on YouTube. But that'd be up to you.
Yeah. I don't know, the whole AdSense thing, and YouTube's really, I don't know, the VidMe thing kind of got me a little bit excited. Like it felt like, I was starting over on YouTube again, and I had kind of got that jolt of inspiration. Like, oh, here's a new platform. Hopefully, but I don't know. It just seems to be there. It's not going anywhere. I don't know why. Maybe Google's, trying to push it away. I don't know if there's anything going on like that. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing I've sort of realized is that when you make a video, you have to do it for yourself, because hell, there are times I made videos and I get maybe 1 comment or 2 comments at most. You just have to do it because you want to, and pretty much expect that nobody sees it, but you did it just because it's fun. And that's really the best thing. Like for me, I don't make any money from this on YouTube or anything. So if I'm going to do it, it's going to be for fun. That's really all there's to it.
I've never made a dime off of any of this. Not a dime. And I never really got into it for money.
Right.
But I have said that it would have been nice to make a little bit to where I could, support the channel without spending bill money on movies and stuff. So, I can't, you see all these guys doing unboxings and stuff like that. I can't afford to buy all that extra shit just to open on camera.
Right.
So if I made a little money through the channel, then I would do that. But so I kind of, if there's no budget, no promotion, no interest. It's kind of depressing a little bit. But I'm not the kind of person that stays depressed very long. I just move on and find something else that makes me smile, because that's what you're supposed to do. And I always have a lot of fun with you guys on the factory, and I will always do that until Pizza pulls the plug on it or kicks me out. Yeah, I still won't be mad about it. I'll still think it's one of the most fun things I've done on the internet since I've been goofing around. So definitely look forward to doing that all the time, hanging out with you guys.
It's a lot of fun. I mean, you were doing it before me, so it's like almost I'm the new guy still of the people there.
I don't know who was the originals. I think, were you originally invited around? I think you were around the time of inception.
Yeah, he invited me. I said no just because I was busy with stuff, and plus I didn't know how it worked and how was it all handled, and I didn't know anything about Google Hangout. And sadly, I do know it's a piece of shit. But I was just busy with stuff. I said, if I will want to be consistent and not leave people hanging, and it's like, okay, once I know what's going on with my personal stuff, and I don't want to be the guy who's late or to be the guy who, hey, where is he? So it's like, once I know I can be consistent, then okay. That's when I said yes. And
Yeah, I think you came in full time around season 3.
somewhere around there.
Yeah. That was cool. I mean, yeah, it's pretty casual. I mean, his outrun's a very,
Oh yeah,
low
definitely.
key. It's cool. We have people
Very
that
good.
haven't been on the show in years, but they're still friends.
Yeah.
Some of our original crew has moved on. Life gets in the way. You have family and all this stuff going on. We understand. It's cool. I mean, I'm a loser with nothing much to do, so I'm always available, right? So if you get somebody else has something more important, it's all good. But I get to have a lot of fun with my sense of humor and just goof off and have a great time, and definitely something I look forward to. Well, I guess this is going to be it, which is fine. It's all good. It's Thanksgiving. I hope everybody's, speaking of families and stuff, I hope everybody's having a good one. You guys are playing games and chilling out and hanging out and having a good time. It's all good. We'll reconvene next week for the next factory, so definitely check that out. If you haven't heard of the Sausage Factory on YouTube, look it up. There's years of entertainment. Some of our shows are 3, 4, I think one's even 5 hours long. So you could start watching them now and probably not finish till summertime. So definitely tune in and check that out. It's a lot of fun. I think we're going to get ready to start up the movie here. I'm at 6 seconds at the black before the Paramount.
Yep.
Like I said before, Those Aren't Pillows edition. All right, if everybody's ready, I got it in the black and ready to go. I guess we'll go 3, 2, 1, and start. Back when Paramount didn't suck. Well, they kind of did. We just didn't really know to what extent.
It's that like pair of pricks. Paramount, fuck you. Those shitty Super Chuds movies, fucking assholes. So when did you first see this movie?
I don't know if I saw it in the theater or if I rented it. I mean, I was a huge fan of these guys back then, so it's very possible that I saw it in the theater.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Steve Martin's kind of under fire right now because of his King Tut being racially insensitive or something. I'm not really sure, but I remember I had the album when he released it, and I don't know if it's because he says he's my favorite honky. Is that the part that's the problem, or is it the headdress and the dancing? Because nobody cared when they were walking like an Egyptian 10 years later.
So it was okay back in the day, but now it's a problem.
Apparently, cultural appropriation, or I'm not really hip on all the new stuff. Hey, it's the dad from Ferris Bueller.
Yeah. Would you say this is your favorite John Hughes movie?
This one, definitely.
Yeah, I would say so too. I mean, I really enjoy Ferris Bueller, but if I had to pick, it'd probably be this one.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller is a close second. I mean, it's really close, but this one is definitely my favorite.
And sadly, this DVD isn't really much for features.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, for those that are wondering, this uh, you have a little making of. You have a few people interviewed, like I think Michael B. Keane for a sec, and I forget her name, the stewardess, the girl. She was in Ferris Bueller as the
Edie McClure, I think her name is.
yeah. But Steve Martin isn't interviewed, which I don't get because from what I've heard, he's a big fan of the movie. John Hughes passed away. I know that there was originally like an over 3 hour cut of this movie. So would have been nice to see some of that footage. But that footage is nowhere to be found. I think John Hughes at one point said it was in a Paramount vault, and probably by this point, it's been disintegrated. All that footage.
Getting ready to race Kevin Bacon for a taxi.
Yeah.
Which is a weird cameo. It's like, okay.
Well, what happened was he was actually doing a John Hughes film. She's having a baby.
I mean, he looks just like the character, and that's what I was thinking. I don't know if they're trying to join the two, that they exist in the same time frame or what.
Well, it sounded like he enjoyed working with John Hughes, so he came on set and he's like, "Hey, is there anything I can do?" And John is like, "Hey, I could put you here." He just enjoyed working with John, so he's like, "Oh, I could work for a day here and no dialogue and fun scene." Now Kevin Bacon's doing a pilot for the Tremors series. Jesus.
Well,
Steve Martin, other than being under fire, he hasn't really done much. But the last movie I remember him from was like Bowfinger. Or I haven't seen but one called Novocaine. I don't know what else he's been up to. All those shitty Pink Panther movies.
well, he's getting up there. I mean, he's always looked old because he was prematurely gray. I mean, you look at pictures of him back in the 70s, and he doesn't look much different.
No.
Looks a little bit younger, but not much. I know he plays a banjo, and he's got a bluegrass band. That's one thing he's been doing, is it doing concerts and traveling around doing shows, and he loves playing his banjo.
Oh, wow.
I guess he made enough money at the movies and figures he's, his stock has probably fallen over the years.
I think coming up, we're going to see the first appearance of John Candy. It's greatly missed.
Yeah.
When I did this marathon of John Candy movies, just because I hadn't seen them in a while, I'm like, let me watch them and even review them. And they made a lot of good movies. I love Summer Rental. That's a personal favorite of mine. I love this movie, Uncle Buck, Great Outdoors. A lot of fun movies.
Yeah, unfortunately, because of his appearance, he wasn't really taken seriously. He was a good actor.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that some of the movies he was offered were, below his talent level. But, he was a comedian and he was a large guy. So that's what, hey, guess what? You're a large, clumsy oof. You're a doofus. Right?
Right.
You can do more than that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the Joey Lawrence?
I can't remember.
Either
That's
one of his brothers.
might be the younger brother. I don't think it's the one. Yeah, I can't remember which one was. I think
It's one of his brothers.
Yeah, I think it's the one in that movie. Paul's like, who's really shitty. He's like, isn't that bad? He didn't know what the fuck he was doing. But I think that's some of the footage that was cut out. This wife character had more something about their rift in their marriage, something like that. Something about, I think she thought he was cheating on her because of all this going on, or he wasn't sure she believed him and all this going on, something like that. But
yeah, I think the movie works pretty good without it, but I love the little reenactment with the taxi door. I guess they figured maybe that with the drama with John Candy's character, that if they had drama with Steve Martin's character, it would just be too much. It would take the emphasis off of, Candy's character being alone and hiding the fact that he's, depressed and lonely. So if you have Martin going through it, maybe they thought it was too much.
That makes sense to me. I'm fine that they did that.
Because it's like
Martin he's just a normal guy.
Right. Martin has the life that he wants, right?
Yeah.
Dale wishes he had a family to go home to and spend Thanksgiving with. And he kind of, envies his life for that reason. But so if his life is shit too, then there's nothing to envy.
And the thing about John Candy's character, there's this nice guy named Cody who wrote this article about this movie. And he mentioned something interesting where John Candy's character, he's not, usually this type of character would be labeled dumb, but he's never dumb. Like, he's a good salesman. I mean, he can sell these curtain rings and gets tons of money from it. He's not a dumb guy. He's just a nice guy who's had sometimes maybe a bit too nice, but he's never dumb or annoying, which is a lot of these type of movies, they fall into that trap of, well, I didn't mind, I like Due Date, this film with Robert Downey Jr., but Zach Galifianakis was so obnoxious and annoying. I wanted to punch him in the face. It's like, I could watch her, like, Robert Downey Jr. when he's ready to kill him, I'm like, I can see why, but that's why I like the film okay, but nowhere near something like this where just much better writing and directing of the characters. Also a nice score that fits with the flick, as well as the musical pieces. There's a good soundtrack.
I want to turn it up so I can hear it, but I don't want it to. I don't know if you can hear it over my microphone or not.
No.
Cool.
And this was John Hughes' sort of first take into adult, like, movies for adults, not just teenagers.
Yeah, and even though basically I was a teenager at the time, I wish he would have done more of this stuff. Because this was 87, right? I think it's 87.
Sounds about right. Yeah, that's what it says here, 87.
Yeah, November 25th. So
Makes sense.
30th anniversary. A couple days away.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty cool.
That makes sense. Wow. Didn't think of that. Was there any word on why he quit directing? I think the last film was Curly Sue. Because I hear different things. Like he was mad that that got flopped. He was really sad about John Candy passing away, and he never got over it. It's been all sorts of theories, but if anyone out there, if they know any sure reasons why he kind of quit directing, because he didn't do too many movies after this directing ones.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, he was definitely on a roll. Maybe, maybe it was a combination of all those things that just killed his creativity and his desire to keep going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why she has that "what's going on" Neil, as if she's being suspicious.
Well, it would have to suck to have a job like that where you're all over the place and traveling around. It's the holidays. You're just trying to get home. You got to deal with all these obnoxious people and late flights. And I imagine
Yeah.
that alone would cause stress in a marriage, let alone plant paranoid thoughts.
And there's actual snow. Which, don't see any around here. I mean, you're in Florida, but like I'm in Iowa and there's no snow. Usually by Halloween or before there's snow.
Although it seems unnatural, it's not necessarily a bad thing because I had plenty of snow in my youth.
Of course, Ben Stein.
Ben Stein.
Win Ben Stein's money. I remember that show. Of course, the Bueller, Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, the description kind of, I think of Candy's character as more than that. A man must struggle to travel home for Thanksgiving with an obnoxious slob of a shower curtain ring salesman as his only companion. Kind of, so, yeah, that kind of sells him short.
Well, like I said, I mean, like someone said in the article they wrote for this, the movie, there was a guy named Cody, he mentioned in this article that John Candy's character is not dumb. He's good at being a salesman. He knows how to sell curtains, something that why would anyone care? But he knows how to sweet talk people and get stuff done. And he's just a guy who maybe at times too nice, as he would say himself. But
I call him more awkward than obnoxious. But
right.
But it is an interesting side note about the rental car scene. No transportation company wanted to appear inept or deficient, so crews had to rent 20 miles of train track and refurbish old railroad cars and construct the set to make it look like an airline terminal just to shoot the scene. And this is John Candy's favorite film that he did. So that's... Because it was the first time he was allowed to stretch, and actually show that he could do more.
Yeah.
He wanted to do more of this.
Makes sense. I think that's why he was so excited to do that bit role in JFK. It was something incredibly different.
It does say that the rental scene is 1 minute long from the time Steve Martin starts his tirade to the time the attendant ends the scene. In 60 seconds, the word fucking is used 18 times.
Must have been my favorite scene in the movie.
Yeah, and when they're driving down the road and he sees Dell in the devil suit that's coming up, there are quite a few. So John Hughes, in an interview on the Those Aren't Pillows DVD, said he was inspired to write the film's story after an actual flight from New York to Chicago, which was diverted to Wichita, thus taking him 5 days to get home. And he shot over 6,000 feet of film, almost twice the industry average. Rumored 3-hour version of the film does exist.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. He wrote it in 3 days.
Yeah, that's what people say about John Hughes. He was always a fast writer on most of his movies.
Steve Martin was convinced to join the production after favoring 2 scenes he had read from the script, the seat adjustment scene and the rental car scene. Well, they had problems trying to get snow for this movie. His original choice for the train station was in Kankakee, Illinois. But it didn't get cold enough to snow, so they had to move. Even with the F words intact, it's still rated PG. It's rated PG in New Zealand. Interesting.
Yeah, even on here it says Canada PG, but in the USSR.
One of Roger Ebert's favorite movies. Cool.
Good choice.
He did have taste occasionally. I guess this would be where they get the slob from, because he is.
Yeah.
He's got to dry off. Just a washcloth. That's an interesting flip. The original plot involved John Candy's character being a bungling vampire bent on trying to get Steve Martin's character to invite him into his family's house. But John Hughes was so impressed with the on-scene chemistry between Candy and Martin that he removed the vampire plot from the script in favor of a more wholesome Thanksgiving theme.
Good choice.
Yeah. And of course, this does have 3 people from Ferris Bueller's Day Off. We mentioned one, Lyman Ward. There's Edie McClure and Ben Stein, all 3. Apparently, that scene with Kevin Bacon was supposed to be a reference to Quicksilver.
Huh.
Movie was in about bicycle messengers. I don't know if you remember that one.
Vaguely, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I remember it advertised, like the trailer and stuff.
I saw it, but I still barely remember it.
But imagine that, a good comedy that's not raunchy, like most comedies today.
Yeah, really, just that one scene is the only scene where the F-bomb is used.
Yeah.
And everything. And, there's the reference to the pillows, of course, but that's goofy, though. It's not raunchy. So,
Well, I mean, like not puke jokes, piss jokes, shit jokes, like all the
Yeah.
stuff you see nowadays for
it's just
comedies.
uncomfortable silences and two guys with very, very different personalities. Yeah, Steve Martin, who's the uptight professional, stressed out guy, and then you have the other guy that's more laid back and slovenly, I guess you could say.
Yeah. The Odd Couple thing.
Yeah, basically, Oscar and Felix.
With a good amount of heart too, which not a lot of comedies do nowadays, unfortunately.
Nope.
Can't remember the last comedy that really did it.
You're not even amusing exit that way. He's kind of a dickish dude.
But I'll be honest, I can't blame him too much in the fact of, the bathroom scene, all this other stuff going on.
Oh yeah,
I can't blame him too much.
Making all the noises. I definitely would have been annoyed, but he would have been sleeping in the airport
Exactly.
waiting area if it wasn't for him. So
Exactly.
you kind of have to cut him some slack, right? It's his room.
Exactly. And that's where
he's not appreciating the generosity that the guy. Sure, he's a little bit annoying and he's a little off, but
so I can kind of understand it, but you realize it's too far, and that's where this is John Candy's acting, just from his eyes. And
yeah, this his line delivery right here is really, I think.
And the music too. It's a piece of music out there, folks, called "Power to Believe," which you hear in another essential scene later on, when Steve Martin realizes the real predicament of John Candy's character.
There's a story about that handprint on the wall. I can't remember what it is, but it wasn't an accident. There's a handprint up by the picture above the window, or above the bed.
Picture of his wife?
There's like handprints on the wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see
To
it.
make it look, a little questionable.
Yeah. I never noticed that.
Maybe I don't want to know what's been going on in this room.
Wow, I never noticed those. Yeah, like on the top left.
Yeah.
Above Steve Martin when he was in bed. Yeah.
There's one above Dell, too.
Never noticed that.
Wasn't that kid in summer school?
I don't. He looks familiar.
His buddy was Chainsaw. There was the two guys in the class always talking about horror movies.
Yeah, it looks like him. I don't know if it's the same actor, but yeah, it looks like Chainsaw's buddy. Yeah. Both.
I've seen him in something else, and that's just what popped into mind.
Sort of old school mom and pop restaurants. There you go. This scene. That's a good one.
The scene that gives the edition its name.
Exactly. Sadly, I think if you did this now, people would just be PCing. Oh, it's homophobic, the PC police, which is too much nowadays.
Yeah, man. Political correctness is kryptonite to comedy.
Yeah. I hold my hands between two pillows. Oh, you can definitely see those handprints here. Yeah. On the left and right of that picture.
Yep.
How about that game, football game?
Awkward is definitely
Yeah.
if you find yourself drying your face with a big ass pair of somebody else's underwear, definitely be an uncomfortable position to be in.
Can't say that's ever happened, thankfully. So.
No, and I hope it never does.
I know I say this a lot when do commentaries with on Sasha's Factory, but just the way movies look, I enjoy them. They don't do nowadays. I don't know. They just can't with digital or what, but I don't know. It just has a certain look of the colors that they just can't recapture.
Yeah, because when you're lighting for film, it's completely different than if you're lighting for video.
Right.
Digital. And yeah, it's a lost art form. I mean, we moved into a new era, which is fine, but it's different. It's never gonna.
Yeah.
It's never gonna look like that again, which is a shame. But I know what you mean. It's warmer, and it I don't know. It feels there's more depth to it, and it just seems more real. Like you're sitting there at the table with them as they're having this conversation.
Yeah.
Whereas digital sometimes there's a separation. It doesn't seem as intimate.
Yeah. Love that.
Think so? That guy's been in a bunch of stuff too.
Yeah. Definitely was familiar. Wiped his mouth and then shook his head. So sad that John Candy's career just, if he didn't do stuff like Wagons East, man, who knows? No reason for him, a guy that big, to be out in the desert on a horse like that. Worst place for that to be.
Yep, Dylan Baker's the guy playing the redneck. This is his first movie.
Oh, okay.
He was in the Halloween anthology, Trick or Treat.
Oh, okay.
And a bunch of stuff.
I think he's I think the first segment with the Halloween candy and he's trying like to bury someone and.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. What do you think the temperature is? 1? I don't miss that, you know?
What are your top couple of favorite John Candy films other than this?
Man. Well, unfortunately, he was more of a bit player for a while. I loved him in Stripes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he was in Splash.
Yeah.
I liked his role in Splash. You know, and in this movie, you know, those are probably, and Summer Rental is probably the one starring role he did that I can't say it's his best, but I really enjoyed it. I mean, I like The Great Outdoors.
Okay.
And he do it, Uncle Buck and something else.
So he did Armed and Dangerous.
Eugene Levy, I like that one.
Yeah. He did, and then after Uncle Buck, he had a big part in Home Alone, and he did films like Delirious and
Spaceballs. He was Barf. That was great.
Yeah.
He was in Volunteers. Tom Tuttle from Tacoma.
Not for me.
That's not a great flick, but Brewster's Millions. I don't know.
Oh,
There's, I mean, Yeah, he was in 1941, which again is not
Big part.
a great flick, and he was in the Blues Brothers
Yeah.
as the cop. I mean, so I mean, yeah, it's like I enjoy some of his bit parts more than some of his lead parts. I don't know,
Yeah.
but I definitely like Summer Rental.
This is the thing that kills me in that is when he finds the guy in the bed and he's like, "You watching the Smurfs? You seen the one where Papa Smurf beats the shit out of a guy with a red hat? You see that one?"
Little Shop of Horrors.
Yes, the radio announcer.
Oh, Who's Harry Crumb? That was the other one I was thinking of. Uncle Buck and Who's Harry
Yes,
Crumb.
that's right.
Only the Lonely wasn't bad. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, but that was okay. It was some good acting with him, and I think Ali Sheedy, I believe.
His last good one was probably Cool Runnings.
Yeah,
As far as like, that's probably, the last one that I enjoyed.
because I did not like Canadian Bacon. I ranted on that. I did not like Whiting's East. Hated that. And
Yeah, he was pretty depressed around the time he was doing those movies because that's not what he wanted to do. He wanted to do more stuff like this, and all the scripts he were getting worse and worse, and he was pretty depressed about it. So I read some interviews with his kids and his wife around the time that he died, and he didn't, he hated Wagons East. He wasn't, and Canadian Bacon wasn't something he was thrilled about. And that was what he was being offered. And he was in his 40s, I think, at the time. Didn't he die in his 40s? Early 40s?
that sounds about right, yeah.
So, his career had peaked by then, and he was kind of depressed about it. Yeah, he was 43. He was born on Halloween.
Oh, wow. I didn't watch much of SCTV. Did you? Because I know that's how he first started.
Yeah, because I grew up around Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And it was basically based out of Chicago. It was a bunch of Canadians that came down and had their own show.
Yeah.
Which was cool. So yeah, it was on PBS, I think. But yeah, I got to watch some SCTV. I liked it. I thought it was funny. I mean, I remember when Bob and Doug McKenzie were just a skit, before the song and before the movie.
Yeah.
I was used to those guys, so I knew who they all were before they started making it into movies in the 80s. I was like, oh, yeah, I know that guy. Eugene Levy was on there, and Rick Moranis. Nobody knew who he was, but I saw him on SCTV. And Martin was heavily involved with Saturday Night Live as a writer, and he was on the show a lot. He was a frequent host, and he did the Wild and Crazy Guys sketch with Dan Aykroyd, where there were a couple of, I don't know, foreign guys that were trying to be hip in America by wearing clothes, and we're a couple of wild and crazy guys. Yeah.
Was that on SCTV or SNL?
That was Saturday Night Live.
Oh, okay.
But that was Martin. Martin was more on the Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah, gotcha. And nope.
Everybody knows that one. Martin's character's finally learning to kind of chill a little bit and not be so uptight.
Yeah.
Czechoslovakian ivory. He's a good salesman.
Yeah. which that might not seem much to some people, but a lot of times in movies, I look for those little details that make it worthwhile, and like that. In a typical movie, he would just be the bumbling salesman, even that. But no, it shows this is how he makes a living. He's good at that. Nowadays, it's just they don't really look into the details. Not just comedies, but a lot of movies.
That's true.
But those details are.
It's the little things that really make it, you know?
Yeah, you get enough of them, and it becomes a classic like this. And
yeah, when I was in a screenwriting class, when I went to school, that's one thing that the screenwriting teacher was like, it's the little things that make, it's the actions that the characters are doing, and it's the little things you pay attention to in your story that make it what it is. And I forget what movie it was he was talking about, but there was a scene where a guy was bitching somebody out, and the whole time he's like shelling and eating peanuts, you know, and it was just, you know, it's just the way that it was put together. Yeah, he really liked that scene. There was a movie with Terrence Stamp. I forget, it was one where it was back in early 2000s, late 90s. Can't remember what he was, some kind of a hitman or something.
Was he the star? Or?
I think so. I think it was a Terrence Stamp.
Was it the Limey?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's what it was. And he mentioned that one scene and how little things like that, you know, that kind of sticks with you. So when you're watching a movie, you watch for those little things.
Yeah.
And to bring up Transformers, I haven't seen. I mean, the last one I saw was the first one with Marky Mark in it, and it was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Stupid people doing stupid shit with cartoon shit going on behind them. It's just like, you know, whatever.
Exactly.
Make the first one look like a masterpiece. That's not easy to do. And I know you hate the new Ninja Turtles movies.
Yeah.
Design, I'm with you on. I thought they kind of captured the spirit of the cartoon show in some ways, you know, but not enough ways. And the second one was like, oh, you know, it could have been so much better. But I don't think I hate them as much as you do, because there is a little bit. I mean, you know, do we need Medea as Dexter Stockman or whatever that character? I mean, that was like casting what the fuck, you know. There was a lot of shit like that in there.
Yeah.
But
people in Rock City showing their dicks and going, yeah.
Well, they were childish in the cartoon show, but you know they had to keep it PG.
Yeah, I don't need them to fucking be impressed by their dicks. And,
although that would be something that people with brains that small would actually do, so it's kind of believable. But what they did to Casey Jones, it's like, really? Yeah, I don't know. I had a lot of series. Was it Megan Fox was in that? Is it April O'Neil?
She's in both of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of things wrong. I mean, Krang looked pretty good, but
yeah,
the Technodrome was kind of anticlimactic, though. I don't know. Shredder was.
I like some martial arts. One of them.
I was like a little ninja with my Ninja Turtles, please.
A little bit. I mean, even those '90s movies, even they had martial arts, and those are silly kids movies. I know I'm a big fan of those, but I know what they are. Even they had martial arts and fighting. They don't even fight. They just.
I really liked the first movie, the original.
Yeah. Yeah. That's where he gets pissed. I don't believe. I mean, you take them all the way there, and there's no car. Just gets fucked over. And this weird song comes out.
I've been that pissed off before. I think this is the scene.
Yep, coming up.
Oh man.
Anytime I think of this movie, I won't say it here, but I'll say it. Other times I always say the lines of dialogue is just my favorite. Down in the middle of fucking nowhere with fucking teeth to a fucking car that isn't fucking there.
You're fucked.
Had to cross a fucking highway and a fucking runway just for you to smile on my fucking face. I want a fucking car right fucking now. That's another thing. Nowadays, they would never let you do that because they want PG-13. They would never allow you just have one scene that makes it R. If they could, they would cut it out.
You know, and that's kind of what makes this scene so special, because you don't see it coming. Because everything up until now has been pretty tame.
Well,
Then
like
he just, let's go.
When you showed it to someone, they didn't know it was rated R. They didn't.
Yeah, and then they watched it and it was like, what the hell? The fucking car. That's fucking fucking now. Oh boy, what? You're fucked. Yeah, that was back in the days before they had computer backup for everything. So once it printed out, it was pretty much, that was your receipt. And if you lost it, you lost it. Where are you going? Chicago. Chicago? Don't you know you're in St. Louis? Here comes the National Lampoon's Vacation car.
Yeah. Yeah, another movie John Candy was in.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's your problem. So. Pleasure. Snatch. Oh. Yeah, the car was decked out to look like the truckster on purpose.
I can definitely see it.
Never seen a guy get picked up by his testicles before. Oh, good stuff.
In case people out there are wondering, when this came out in '87, it debuted at number 3 and was a big hit. Made about $49 million, and it was pretty successful for Paramount. And didn't have too much competition. I mean, films no one really talks about anymore, like Baby Boom or Nuts or Flowers in the Attic or such. And this is seeing Seth MacFarlane ripped off for his Ted 2 movie. For those who never saw that film, he literally had the thing do this exact same thing in the car while they were driving for Ted 2, which I thought sucked, but much better here.
Had some conversations going on in the comment section. I saw Pizzal and Orc made an appearance in the comments. Thanks for tuning in, guys. DJ Donnelly, of course. Had some new people in there talking. Awesome. Glad you're enjoying the show. We like doing these unscripted what the fuck shows. It's just it just flows naturally. We have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah. Did you ever see Ted 2?
No, I saw the first one.
You made it sound like it's a traumatic experience.
It's got Marky Mark in it. That dude, man.
Fucking Marky Mark and his funky bunch.
He's got like one look is surprised. No, wait, no.
It's more like, what? No.
Oh, what? Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
The sequel wasn't much better, but yeah, they
I
ripped this.
guess I'm just not feeling the vibrations.
They just they absolutely ripped this scene off. Same music, same drumming on the dashboard. Yeah, like fucking come on.
And Seth MacFarlane can be a funny dude, but Ted's just Peter Griffin,
Yeah,
basically. I mean, it's not like it's a new voice. I don't think he should have done the voice. I think somebody else should have done the voice, and it should have been more original. But then it should have got somebody other than Marky Mark. There was potential. I mean, I laughed. The first one had some moments in it, that were pretty funny,
yeah,
but not enough to make me go, back for more.
exactly. Driving your leads around the steering wheel. Actually, if you were closely in that car, you saw that you had the blue coat on again.
And it wasn't him.
Yeah,
If you,
yeah.
if you look really closely, he had his coat back on, and it wasn't him. Yeah, I tend to notice little things like that too. But
No, I mean it doesn't bother me or anything. Just
I just understand that's how it's done. That was a pickup
yeah.
shot, that they did without them there.
Although I would have thought it would be weird that there'd be another car going the same way I am on a different highway.
On the other side, yeah,
Yeah.
we're going the wrong way. Yeah. Of his fingers are indented. Bent the steering wheel.
And real quick, actually, I was wrong. He does have his coat still on. I was wrong on that. But
Well, no, because when the scene ended, he had it down around his shoulders because he was trying to take it off. And he was like, "You should take that off." He goes, "Yeah, I was going to." And then the next scene, he's got it on again.
yeah.
That's just one of those things.
Then,
I guess they figured it wasn't important enough to fix.
See, this is a moment I can understand Steve Martin being mad. His character. Like, I sleep and you almost kill us. Going the wrong way in a highway.
I don't know. At this point in the journey, I would just be happy that I wasn't dead. And
I think that's why he eventually does help him. I think
he's just like, whatever.
There you go. I think good writing. It's make your characters likable, because with writing they can easily make them unlikable. Even if they
And
don't
Steve
feel
Martin's
it.
character could be very easily unlikable just
Yeah.
because of the uptight nature of his character.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other. Yeah, go ahead.
But we can see that Dell actually brings out the side of him that he didn't know he had, and probably helps save his marriage when he gets home because he's now more appreciative of what he has, and they both grow. And there's character arcs along with the 18 fucks. It's important to have both.
Exactly.
Car's on fire.
Yeah, nowadays I'm more worried about the raunch, less about the writing. Or they're just too much ad-lib, I think, is one thing that hurts a lot of movies.
Yeah, because unless you're working with Bill Murray, you should probably keep the ad-libs to a minimum, because there's very few people that are actually really, really good at that.
And the ones who are the ones who become the big stars, like Eddie Murphy or Bill Murray. Doesn't mean everyone can do it. And
exactly.
Strip needs certain structure. In other words, you need actual writers for comedy sometimes. And he's been using his track cards.
Oh, these two guys played off each other so well.
Pretty damn sturdy car to keep running even after a fire. It's a pretty good car.
Yeah. You watch this and you see how much they borrowed for, what was it? Probably both Black Sheep and Tommy Boy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tommy Boy was more the road trip movie. Black Sheep, a little bit more great outdoors with the bat in the cabin and all that.
I had pudding in my pants. There was no pudding in the refrigerator.
I enjoy those movies too.
Yeah, and kind of the same thing happened to Farley. I mean, because was it Beverly Hills Ninja and Almost Heroes were kind of like Wagons East bad. Although I do have a friend that does like Beverly Hills Ninja, but
I do too. I will admit, I enjoy that movie. But yeah, Almost Heroes. Yeah, he wasn't happy with either of those, and then he was starting to voice Shrek.
yep.
He was going to be the voice of Shrek, and then he died before it was completed.
That would have been a completely different. I mean, would Shrek have had so many sequels if he played Shrek? Would it have been the same hit?
I know they released some of that audio on YouTube, some of his voice acting of Shrek. Yeah, you can tell it's a different kind of character. I don't know.
Man, the guy that played the motel clerk, he was the lawyer in Jurassic Park. I've been watching some 80s movies recently. He pops up like every once in a while. It's like, holy shit, it's that guy again. It's the blood-sucking lawyer.
He was also in, I think, Night Riders with George Romero.
Yeah.
He an appearance in that.
That might have been one of the things I saw him in recently. Holy shit, that guy was in a lot of shit. Casio. Nice velvet painting of Roy Orbison. Obscure, but wonder why they put that in there. Nothing in a movie frame is there by accident.
Trying to think, was one of his songs in one of the other John Hughes movies, or
it might have been.
Trying to think.
He must have been a fan.
And the big bowl on top of the fucking hotel with like a giant bowl, like a giant eye staring down at you. This is definitely one of the best movies on the road trip. Definitely, I mean, there was National Lampoon's Vacation, but definitely after this, I think you saw a lot more road trip type of movies that try to capture that spirit of this movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't call the Cannonball Run films great
Yeah.
movie, but they're decent comedies. But yeah, Vacation kind of kicked this off with the. It's kind of like Running Scared, in my opinion, was kind of a buddy cop type. That became a very popular thing with the comedy with the buddy cops.
Oh yeah.
Well, you could say 48 Hours, maybe even more so, but.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. This definitely is one of the best road films.
What other ones do you enjoy?
I like the vacation films. Although Christmas Vacation is technically not a road film, it's a stay-at-home staycation film. The first National Lampoon's, I mean, European Vacation was okay, but it wasn't. Vegas Vacation again was kind of unnecessary.
Did you see the new one?
No. No, I couldn't bring myself to do it. I mean, when you got Thor with a fake 14-inch cock, I was just like, I don't need to see that.
It's not worth it. It's a piece of shit.
I like the first one too much to pollute my memory banks with the.
It's the perfect example. We were talking about how comedies today, comedies back then. You look at National Lampoon's Vacation. A lot of just sincerely funny stuff. In that remake, what's funny is there's a cow and it gets hit and it explodes because someone hit it with an ATV. Or the family, they're swimming and bathing, it's in like a septic tank type of pond with shit all over it. That's the comedy nowadays.
Yeah. The first vacation film definitely benefited from the talents of Chevy Chase. It was
and Harold Ramis.
Yeah, it was that was my problem with the Ghostbusters remake. It wasn't all the hoopla around who was in it. It was just you can't recreate that magic that those guys did back then.
And they didn't.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be a sequel. No, it's not. It's not related. It's even some of the stars of the film were kind of disappointed in what it was because it wasn't what they were sold when they signed on. So
just pussy fart jokes and fucking copy and paste and political bullshit.
The first one, it was a simple premise. It was, three guys get kicked out of their college jobs and, they decide to go pro. And they start their own business. And it would have been nice to see a continuation of that, maybe a franchise with those guys involved. They could have been like the corporate office now, and there's a Ghostbusters franchise in every city or something. And I don't know, they could have done it in a way to kind of bring those guys back. I don't know. But still, it was, I don't know, Ghostbusters, Jaws. I mean, there's some movies that just shouldn't be remade.
And also, you can't take a movie seriously. Talk about the new one where they literally stopped the movie to look at a YouTube comment. Girls can't be busting no ghosts. I mean, you literally stop the movie for shit like that. And again, there's not much writing. It's a lot of ad-libbing that goes on for 10 minutes. And some of these comedies actually do need writing, that you stick with it. Not everyone is a Bill Murray or an Eddie Murphy. That's why that comes out every once in a blue moon.
Yeah, because the Saturday Night Live of old is, much higher quality than the current version. So if you're trying to continue to make SNL films, you have to understand that the cast isn't as strong.
Right.
Although I did mention Lonely Island and Popstar, that came out of, MTV, or it came out of SNL when they did their SNL films like Lazy Sunday. And, The Lonely Island Incredibad is a very funny, rap parody album. It's hilarious, but and I do enjoy Sandberg, and was it Hot Rod? I thought that was a pretty decent flick where he played the guy that jumps shit on his motorcycle and he's a wannabe Evel Knievel. I mean, that came out about 10 years ago, I think. It was decent.
I think I saw it maybe once, but I can't remember much of it.
It's nothing like the old days, but
right.
I mean, in the old days, these guys were making movies like Meatballs and Stripes and Ghostbusters and Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, and like they tried to remake Psycho, and that shit didn't work either. So I'm not just picking on these people.
Or Star Wars.
Don't get me started on that shit. I'm not looking forward to this.
That's a definitely reference in Tommy Boy after the deer attack. I think even they admitted this was it was an ode to this movie.
Michael McKean. Spinal Tap. There's another Saturday Night Live based flick from the days of old.
That's right.
I remember when Spinal Tap they were like the Blues Brothers. They first appeared on Saturday Night Live. They did a song called "Christmas with the Devil." It was a Christmas special. Right? It was fucking hilarious. Like the Blues Brothers started out. That's a Saturday Night Live film. I mean, you ever see Blues Brothers 2000? Even they couldn't top it. Somebody had to kick Dan Aykroyd in his vodka bottle.
I forget exactly what it was, but I know in that original 3-hour cut, something about this was a lot longer. Michael McKean was in it a lot more. Can't remember exactly what it is. I'm sure people will find it out there on the internet. But it makes a little bit of sense because Michael McKean's role's a little short. But I'm fine with it. I mean, again, 90-some minutes, fast-paced, doesn't slow down.
Didn't work. I guess there's maybe only one scene in this film. I can't say that I don't like it, but it's kind of too John Hughesy for me. And that's at the end when he's on the train going home and he's remembering all the different times when he's figuring out the truth about Dell.
Oh, okay.
And it dawns on him, he's going through all the flashbacks and he's kind of smiling as he remembers things. I don't know. It's just too Hughesy for me. I don't know. It definitely brings the film full circle, so it's a necessary scene, but just the way it's shot, there's something about it that bugs me.
Oh, okay.
So if there's one flaw, that's the flaw.
We really disagree. I absolutely love that scene.
That's cool.
I think the reason being that it really cinches home the culmination and then the realization leading up to, oh, that's what really happened with John Candy's character. I thought it really cinches home the heart on the sleeve. And I like the music too. For folks out there, there's a piece of music called Power to Believe. It's the instrumental version. There's an instrumental version, then there's a version with lyrics. Both you can find on YouTube, but lovely piece of music too. And then after that, just John Candy's performance just breaks your heart realizing that he's homeless.
Right. It gets a little touchy-feely there, almost not quite a Debbie Downer moment. It does culminate in a feel-good moment, but it kind of dips there for a minute, and it's kind of a little bit of a bummer. And then it does bring it back up, And after so many funny scenes, when you get to that scene, it's almost like it stops the movie momentarily, and it kind of slows down a little bit, and you get a little. And I don't know, maybe it's some of Martin's reactions. I don't know. There's something about it that's kind of awkward, but like I said, it's a very important scene, and it definitely does flesh out the Candy character and bring everything full circle. Because now he gets a chance to stop and think without being that he's been a putz this whole time, being a dick to this guy when the guy's actually just one of the nicest dudes he's ever going to meet. He's kind of awkward and goofy, but he actually does care.
Yeah. I thought it was handled great because it's not too over the top. Like, it's not tears going down the face and too over dramatic music. It doesn't go on too long. This is probably a minute, 2 minutes at most. It's not 5 minutes. It's not pulled to the extent of. There's been other movies that they stretch it out too much and point breaks.
Yeah. It may actually be Martin that does it to me because he's done a few films where it gets a little too much of the drama in the comedy. Okay. I don't know if he really wanted to be an uber dramatic actor or and took advantage every time he had the opportunity. But it's just something about it that's a little.
Oh, okay then.
But it's a very important scene because the film wouldn't conclude properly without it. So
Right.
I don't know how you could have shot it differently, but there's just something I don't know. It's probably just me.
Well, that's cool. No, I've always enjoyed it. I think Steve Martin does a good job, and John Candy does a good job. With the piece of music they used fits perfectly, and also it's a reference to the last time you had the serious moment between the two with his speech. So it's a nice.
Yeah, it's a moment of reflection for his character. It's like, I feel like I've made it. I'm on my way home. Everything's cool. This journey is finally coming to an end, and I have time to reflect on everything that happened. And then he starts putting pieces together and realizing he's been so obsessed with himself this whole time that he never stopped to think about, what was going on with the other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool that he goes back for him.
Yeah.
And we find out that his wife died, and he's just been, staying on the road to avoid, dealing with the fact that he has nobody to go home to.
And no home to go home to, yeah.
Yeah.
I like that stage, just matter of fact, like 3 sentences. It's not 30 sentences to get to the point. It's just matter of fact, 2 sentences, this is what happened. Okay, why not?
Yeah, it's also friendships can begin in the weirdest of ways. Two completely opposite dudes end up, after their adventures together, end up being friends.
Yeah. And who knows what happens next? I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
He shaves his mustache, he gets a family, it's many years later, and this is the great outdoors.
Oh, or he becomes Uncle Buck. He's adopted by the family.
Yeah, Bmoviemike was right when I was talking earlier about how in that 3-hour cut they have probably all this dramatic stuff for Steve Martin, but it makes more sense to be much more streamlined of just normal guy wants to get home. There you go. Works much better.
Yeah, when you're making a dramedy, which is basically kind of what it's a light drama with comedic elements.
Yeah.
The balance is very, very important. If you have too much slapstick and not enough of the drama to, give it a foundation, then it's gonna be uneven. And if you go too heavy-handed on the drama, it's gonna ruin the comedy. So I think that they did I'd like to see the 3-hour version just to see what they cut out.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that they streamlined it about the best they could.
Mm-hmm. And it's still a shot of John Candy. May you rest in peace, man. Rest in peace, John Hughes.
Yeah, written, produced, and directed by John Hughes. He's a talented dude.
Yeah, it's whatever the reason happened after Curly Sue. Maybe it was because of John Candy passing away. Maybe that was his muse. for a long while because he used them in almost everything. And maybe he lost his passion for that, maybe because Curly Sue bombed, but would have been nice for him to keep making movies, but that's how it is.
Well, I think Hughes was so identifiable with the 80s, and it was such a backlash against the 80s and the early 90s. They probably just didn't, they were like, hey, your time's over. He wasn't commanding the same attention or respect from the studios because you were last decade's flavor, A lot of that was happening with the movies and music and everything. It was like, okay, we all of a sudden, because it's 1990, we hate everything that happened in the 80s. We have to be different. Yeah. It was a weird shift. I mean, the shift from the 70s to 80s wasn't quite as jarring. Right? It was much smoother. It just seemed like it flowed. You can tell the early 80s films had a 70s influence, and then by the time we get to the mid 80s, the 80s have fully taken over, and that's when we get the crazy stuff. And then by 90, it was just like, okay, we've had enough. Like it got too silly for him or something. I don't know. Maybe he was a victim of that. But, really, he put out a lot of good flicks. I mean, how many do you have in you? I mean, when you're writing and directing and producing and keep the quality.
Yeah.
It's like a rock band. How many good albums do they have in them? I mean, people are like, oh, well, their fifth album was terrible. Well, they wrote 4 really good ones before that. Eventually, you might run out of good ideas or things to say, but you still have a contract and you have to put out a record. So who knows? Everybody has their moment, and some last longer than others. Because you look at Mel Brooks, and in the 70s, he was on fire, right? And then in the 90s, although I did like Robin Hood Men in Tights or whatever, that was funny. Dracula Dead and Loving It, which I know is some people's favorite, for me, is nothing compared to like Blazing Saddles or Young Frankenstein.
Right.
Even the movie Life in the 80s, I think, was that 80s? Or no, it was Life Stinks. I keep calling it Life. That's the Eddie Murphy flick. But Life Stinks, where he played the rich guy that pretended to be homeless or whatever. It was okay, but it wasn't Spaceballs.
Right.
So even the great Mel Brooks occasionally had a misfire. It's hard to keep the quality up. I mean, plus you got to deal with the producers and studios and everybody trying to think they have better ideas than you and diluting your idea. And so it's a miracle that anything's good, really.
Yeah.
But maybe it was a combination of Candy's death and studio disinterest, audience disinterest. Maybe the bomb that Curly Sue was like the final nail in the coffin of his career. Maybe he didn't want to do it again because he didn't want to fail again. Because some people, when they win, they don't know how to lose.
Right.
And then that first loss is crippling. And sometimes they lose their confidence to try again.
But you never saw Curly Sue, did you?
Nope.
There you go.
There was probably a lot of that. That's probably why it bombed. Did you see it? Did you see it? Nope. Well, there you go. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, definitely a masterpiece.
Yes.
Damn near perfect. I mean, I have a few problems with some of the dramatic elements, but nothing to make it, a 9.5. So I'll take 0.5 off for a few things that annoy me, but other than that, it's damn near perfect. And it's definitely something I watch every year at this time to help get me into the spirit of the upcoming festivities.
Exactly. John Hughes doing after credits before Marvel and all these other guys.
Yep.
Did Ferris Bueller, did this.
And Ferris Bueller was parodied by Deadpool.
Yep.
So, speaking of superhero films earlier, Deadpool, definitely one of my favorites of the last couple of years. I think it blew away everything else that's come out in the last, it was better than Batman versus Superman or any of that shit. But if Disney buys the Fox division that owns the rest of the Marvel properties, how is Disney going to put out an R-rated Deadpool? Are they going to neuter him and just make him whatever? I don't know.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they're going to buy Fox.
I think they own enough. They violated some antitrust laws or something. Jeez, they broke up they're not going to. They don't want AT&T to buy Time Warner because a monopoly. But Disney's over here buying everybody. I know nobody seems to care. It's like, hey, the dumbest thing George Lucas did: the prequels or selling to Disney.
Who asked that?
I'm thinking out loud.
Oh,
I'm thinking out loud here. Selling to Disney or the prequels? I really hate Hayden Christensen, but I don't know. Selling to Disney might have been the worst of the two.
Yeah.
Cho won. Well, I still can't. It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But I definitely have noticed a division. There's new Star Wars fans. They appreciate the older films, but they don't really watch them. They're not like steeped in the lore. They're just movies, and these new ones have really captured their imagination, and I'm trying to figure out how. Because if you had watched the originals and paid attention, you would recognize these pieces of shit for what they are. It's like everybody pisses all over Abrams' Star Trek, but they masturbate to a Star Wars. I'm like, what? He made the same mistakes with both franchises. One, like, how can you see it in one instance but not in another?
That guy is such an overrated director, J.J. Abrams. Jesus.
Yeah.
Just my opinion, folks. I think he's overrated as fuck.
And I agree. It's just our opinion. Yuck. I'm pissed because I feel like I have to go see the Star Wars film just so, I can say that I saw it when I bitch about it, right? But I'm going to go to the dinner experience, so I'll have a distraction. So that'll be kind of cool. I'll be able to eat some food in case I get bored.
I'll take a pass. I didn't see Justice League. I didn't see
Thor. Yeah, I passed those up. So it's like I can't see three shits in a row, so I'm just going to save it all up for the Star Wars.
Well, I think Thor 3 was good. I think at the end it's a good film.
It did look like they played up the comedy aspect of it when really Thor was kind of lacking in the sense of humor department. I don't know if they lightened his character. I think that's
why they did that.
They lightened his character up a little too much. I don't know. But I did like, in the Avengers, the playback with Thor and Hulk, they're always in like competition with each other.
Yeah. You get a bit of that in that movie too. But,
it's like the Hulk is the only one that can pretty much put a whooping on Thor. So he kind of respects that.
Hmm.
Oh, man. Well, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed the live commentary of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. That's really pretty much all we had planned. We didn't really have anything planned. It was just kind of a, hey, do you want to? Hey, cool, let's do it. And then here we are. So, as always, man, I really appreciate you joining me for this goofy shit.
Thank you for having me. So, this is a classic film. Great flick. If anyone hasn't watched it, give it a watch. It's well worth your time.
Definitely, if you want to see some classic comedies from back in the old days, this is definitely a good one to watch, especially this time of year. I look forward to watching it again next year. Just one of those things. All right, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and bring her to an end. I really appreciate everybody that tuned in. Thanks for hanging out with us. And we will see you next week on the Sausage Factory. Later.
Later.